Police say it was the worst crime a small town in North Carolina has ever experienced.
So horrific that even today it continues to haunt residents in Windsor. Even worse, the killer's never been caught. 10 on your side's Jason Marks takes us inside a 20-year investigation.
Tom, the folks in Windsor, North Carolina are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. It's a town where everybody knows everybody. So when tragedy strikes, well, it affects everyone. And in this case, that feeling felt 20 years ago has never gone away.
Deep in a North Carolina archive, there's a tale of terror.
It's horrible. You can't fathom what happened.
One where the words speak for themselves. Slaying, stun, killer. Short reminders of a crime that happened more than 20 years ago. A crime that rocked a community. A crime so horrific, people remember it as if it were yesterday.
It affected them greatly at the time, and it still affects them today.
Today, Windsor, North Carolina, population just under 4,000, is still as quaint as it was 2 decades ago. Things have changed over the years, but the haze cast over this small town one Sunday night in June has never lifted.
Everybody knew somebody involved.
It shocked me to my heart, to have something like this happen very close.
June 6th, 1993, police got a call unlike any other in the town's 246-year history.
Your attention brought to your rescue. Belows in Windsor, subject has been shot.
One of the first rescue members to get there was Joe Alexander.
One of the senior members of the rescue squad flagged me in, and he said, Joe, I need a little help. I know we got at least one dead and a robber.
It was just after 6 p.m. The Below grocery store just closed. 3 employees were finishing up as 3 cleaning crew members were just arriving. That's their blue truck parked out in front. Their supplies still there on the ground.
We believe that the person or persons were hidden in the store when they did close.
Nothing could prepare crews for what they found next inside the grocery store.
It was a horrific scene. It was very scary.
Police say the suspect gathered up the 6 people in the store, held them at gunpoint. They were then bound by duct tape and taken to the meat cutting room.
They were arranged in stacks. They were shot and some were stabbed.
Windsor Police Lieutenant Ricky Morris picked up the case a couple of years ago. He says once the victims were stacked up, the suspect opened fire into the pile. Fired until he ran out of bullets. He then grabbed a knife and stabbed.
We started down the aisle to the meat cutting room, and that's when it was terrible.
What do you remember seeing?
Bodies and blood. And one of the people had a cutting knife, approximately that long, through his back.
One of the victims was able to make his way to a phone and call for help. He was one of 3 found dead at the scene. 2 others critically injured. One, amazingly, wasn't physically hurt at all. The Below shut down after the murders. The building still stands, but is now a community college. Inside, there's a plaque remembering the 3 lives lost.
The sheriff and police chief at the time, both of them are retired now, and they both just felt like they were leaving something hanging when they retired.
There's not a law enforcement agency anywhere that can say they can solve every crime. But because it is such a heinous and so terrible of a crime, it is very frustrating.
Morris says he continues to track down every lead. A few new ones come in every month. With the help from the State Bureau of Investigations, police released this sketch of the suspect months after the crime. They hope someone knows who he is.
I never thought it would happen here like this.
The crime created one of those moments where everyone remembers. Residents here now hope there's another moment, one where the suspect is behind bars.
You got to have closure on stuff like that. You got to.
And you may have noticed none of the survivors from that night in June were in that story. That's because to this day, what happened inside the Below is something they still can't talk about. Painful memories only made worse by knowing the suspect is still out there. On Wavy.com, you can see a sketch of that suspect again, and you'll also find a 40-minute audio recording from June 6, 1993. It's from Windsor Dispatch from the time police got the call until the time crews had the scene under control. Jason Marks, 10 on your side.
And Windsor police tell us they are working with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation to analyze DNA samples from inside the store. That DNA is constantly being run through a national prison or prison database. The hope is, of course, is that one day there'll be a hit.